afternoon. I'd like to call this meeting of the Town of Selma Planning Board to order. Do a quick roll call. Ms. Bailey.
Here.
Ms. Watson.
Here.
Todd H. here. Todd M.
Present.
So we do have all four members are present, and we have a quorum, so we are able to conduct the business of the town. We have the minutes from our April meeting here with us. Any adjustments, revisions? As far as everybody remembers, they look good.
Yes.
Is there a motion to approve the minutes as presented?
So moved.
Okay, is there a second?
A second.
All right, so the minutes from our I'm sorry, you're right. I got it in myself. So we'll just do that. All those in favor of approving the minutes from the April meeting, say aye.
Aye.
All right. So, thank you, Dawn. Tonight's business, we have just a few, it looks like as a very,
Lengthy.
it looks like we're doing, business of New York City, but, we have three old items and then, three new items and then item that was tabled from the last meeting. I do not have anything to add. Any of the board members have any additions for the agenda tonight?
No.
No. Anything new from the town that we need to consider or add? Okay, so is there a motion to accept the agenda as presented?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you, sorry for that. So we're gonna jump right into it. With that, I will turn it over to, I believe Mr. Graham will be talking with us for a little bit.
Hello. Okay, so for this one, I'm bringing back before you the ordinance amendment to the accessory building setback requirements in section 17-436. As I mentioned last time, it is for the greater flexibility for industrial zones with building height and to enable the accessory buildings in the zone to have higher clearance levels for the industrial needs. Where I made some changes were for an instance where if the accessory building was not the height of the principal structure in the scenario where we've had come up, I thought it was, but I now have it as in industrial districts, the maximum height of an accessory building shall not exceed the height of the principal structure, which is what we had last time, or 35 feet, which is greater, so it's an automatic extension. And then also if they need a higher cap if their primary building's higher, if that makes sense. I know the ordinance one was an earlier version, but it's the 35 feet.
So the one that's on, it says 33.
Yeah, that one's wrong.
So is it,
It's 35.
okay.
So I asked the board, is the proposed action consistent with the Town of Selma land use plan? I further asked that my staff report and all supporting documents described be entered into evidence as testimony.
So I would say it's consistent with the land use plan. So is there a motion that the proposal is consistent with the Selma land use plan?
So moved.
Is there a second?
A second.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? So, that's the piece. So, just a slight revision there. Is there a motion to amend those changes to the town council?
So moved.
Okay, is there a second?
A second.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Great. And so we'll have the company paperwork and the recommendation given to the next town council. And that's it for A. All right, hey, way to go, good job. Item B,
Okay, so this is the one we tabled last time. It's a planning board recommendation on an ordinance amendment to Article 4, permits and final plat approval, Part 2, major and minor subdivisions. And then the following section 17-410, table of permitted uses that go along with the change. Because this is an amend to the section, so minor subdivisions go through the same special use permit advisory from the town council for authorization, and that it is marked as such in the table of permitted uses. So, as we described last time, the planning board recommendation is due to this background on the Brownwall case that was a few months ago. Low density district in the future land use plan, a rural agricultural zone, and a major subdivision was brought to staff level approval as a minor subdivision because it originally was going to council, but then it was brought down to a minor subdivision. And when it's at a staff level, it has to be approved on whether the subdivided parcels match the minimum requirements of the zone rather than like other factors that council usually considers. So they felt the need to change the code so that it goes through a special use permit similar to the major subdivision, and that's where we left off on the table. If you have any questions about the specific code changes,
major subdivisions, it's already going through the process. This is just going to include the minor subdivisions.
Yep.
Would now also follow the same process that's in place.
Yep, just like the ones I bring to you guys on the major subdivisions. It goes through the planning board, it has a hearing scheduled, and then it goes to the council for a hearing.
So, April, there's, seem to be some questions or maybe some concerns about the town staff taking on this additional responsibility. So we tabled it to now and entertain any questions or comments or
Yeah.
suggestions.
And I'll ask similarly as with the other ordinance, is the proposed action consistent with the town of Selma land use plan? And that my staff report and supporting documents get entered into evidence as testimony.
I'm sorry, you said it was.
No, I'm asking you guys.
So what were the concerns from last time that we weren't able to reach a consensus one way or the other? Let's talk about those, see if we can get those resolved, and then we can talk about the proposed action consistent and make a recommendation or not at that point. So I didn't have a concern with the minor subdivisions being added as part of the town staff's process. So I don't know what the concerns were, so let's see if they're still there so we can move forward with this item.
So the question was, from the last meeting, why was there a change from having it be at the lower level to move to the town council? And is this just is a part of the process that they want to implement now because maybe a previous property or something happened that
Yeah, so similarly, like I described, there was a scenario, and there could be more scenarios where they feel smaller subdivisions are kind of out of reach from the council's view, like it's shortcutting in a sense, and that it has a bigger impact than they'd like on ownership of surrounding properties, and that they would like more control of view on
More
those
oversight of it.
instances. Yeah.
And was it the town council's idea that they be included? or
Yeah,
was
they
it staff?
recommended this to staff.
questions, comments, concerns?
I just think we should personally leave it the way it is and not make this change.
So, is the proposed action consistent with the town assembly land use plan? Again, I would say it is. Is there a motion to confirm that? We're not voting yes or no, we're just voting whether or not it's part of the land use plan or consistent with the land use plan.
Yes.
So there,
I have a, how is what we're deciding based on if it's,
Sure it is.
with this consistent with the land use plan? Because the land use plan is the land use plan. What we're talking about here is the way to go through the procedure to make a change within the land use plan or make an adaptation.
so the,
So what we're talking about is who's, where is the authority lie? Or what's the change? So it doesn't, it's not gonna be inconsistent or consistent with the land use plan.
well, yeah, because with looking at the land use plan includes that there's processes and procedures in place to help guide and direct the decisions that the town makes. So that's what we're deciding. now.
But as it stands prior to this action, it's already in compliance with the land use plan.
Okay, so then the answer, your response would be yes, it's in compliance with the
Well,
land use plan.
the previous, no, as we make the changes to the town council, would that be in compliance?
The
See, that
land use
change-
plan is different than the ordinances. So what we would say is wanting to include the minor subdivision, application and approval process consistent with what's in the land use plan. And so, again, I would say it is. Then we would decide whether or not we would recommend that the change be made. So it's two different.
Okay, well, I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, so if you don't think that it should, it's saying it's consistent with the land use plan is not the same thing as saying, I support that this change to be made.
Right, okay, that's what I thought we were saying.
It's two different, that's
Yes.
okay, two different. Okay, so we have a motion that it is consistent with the land use plan. Is there a second?
A second.
Okay, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed to being, okay, so that, we got that part done.
Yeah.
Now, is there a motion to either recommend or not recommend to town council that the change be made?
Move it not be right.
So there's a motion that it not be recommended. Is there a second?
Second,
Okay. All those in favor of the motion that we do not recommend, is that a double negative? Say aye.
aye.
Okay, all those opposed say aye. Aye. So, 1, 2, 3. Three say not to recommend, one says to recommend. So we'll let town council know that the board did not recommend that change be made. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Anything else regarding item B? Okay,
Thank you.
thank you, folks. Item C. Ordinance map amendment.
Okay. So item C, we have a planning board review.
Can I, I'm sorry, before we go on to item C, I know when you all do not recommend something, council a lot of times likes to ask why. Is there anything just for record and notes we can get why it is not recommended other than just the motion not to recommend for council consideration?
I don't see any improvement to the process. That's my first.
The planning board has the authority to be able to make the recommendations and proceed forth with whether to approve it or not, based on our knowledge and expertise.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So item C, planning board review recommendation of a general use district rezoning from I2 to IB. The applicant is Interstate Outdoor Storage, and the property address is an undeveloped, unaddressed property that is along Crocker Street and East Preston Street. It is 2 parcels. The combined acreage is 27.5 acres, where the first parcel is half I2, half IB. I have the exact percentage on the staff report, and it's not historic. It is in the city limits, and there is minimal flood risk. The location of the property is shown in the staff report along I-95, and as I mentioned, a portion of this parcel is already IB, and they're requesting to rezone the mixed parcel with IB and then the adjacent one above it to also IB. There's also an image on there. I will mention that my applicant statement was an incorrect one. I will use the one from the application where the petitioner believes the proposed rezoning would be in the best interest of the public to ensure consistency across the property. And then with a portion of it already being IB, they feel the rezone ensures consistency with regulations and uses across the property. And additionally, with the proximity to the I-95 corridor, the IB district provides more flexibility in mixes and uses, which fits the character of the corridor of the I-70, I-95 interchange and development across I-95. I have two definitions of the two districts here. The I-2 district, which is the principal use of land is heavy industries, and they may create some nuisance which are not properly associated with or compatible with residential or commercial establishments. And then the IB Interstate Business District, which is established to provide for the orderly development of land for appropriate commercial and lodging areas that serves needs of the traveling public on the interstate at Highway 95, particularly at interchanges with major arteries leading to the town. Staff comments that the land use plan is meant to serve as a guiding document, and I ask the board to consider for this, is the proposed action consistent with the town of Selma land use plan, and is the proposed action reasonable and in the public interest? Staff see the mixed parcel is consistent with the land use plan and code, but the adjacent parcel as inconsistent. I also ask that my staff report and supporting document be entered into evidence as testimony, if you have any questions.
My apologies. Do we have another map to show the exact location of this property? I'm trying to figure it out in my head and I'm struggling.
I have it circled on the land use, the future land use plan, the colorful one, if that helps. But I know it's very,
Yes, thank you. Yeah, this is the one that I want. Oh, okay. Now I know exactly. Okay, thank you for that. That's very helpful.
Okay, let me just, for clarification, you said the existing surrounding tract
I said the mixed tract is consistent because it would then make the whole parcel consistent, and I understand that, but the parcel up top, I felt like it was going upwards towards the city rather than maintaining along the line of Crocker Street. I felt like the above parcel is inconsistent.
It was
Right.
inconsistent.
That was my opinion.
Inconsistent with,
The second parcel, but the first one I said was consistent.
so the 10.4 is consistent, 1B is consistent.
sorry, can you bring back up the other map?
1B.
Thank you.
What do you mean?
It says existing 1B, 10.4 acres. Or am I in the wrong place?
It could be.
Oh, IB, excuse me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Which area did you say was inconsistent again, according to this map?
The parcel above,
IB,
uh,
1B.
the one that goes further up East Preston that is not connected to Crocker Street. Yeah, it's the slim one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The one that isn't
Okay.
half IBR.
Thank you.
That makes sense. Thank you.
Is the proposed action consistent with the town's own land use plan? So again, the land use plan talks about being able to rezone and consider these types of things.
Yes.
Okay, so is that a motion?
I'm sorry.
No, no,
Yes.
no. So there's a motion that, the, proposed action is consistent with the land use plan. Is there a second?
A second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed with the consistency with the land use plan? Okay, so we're good with that. Is there a motion to recommend the town council approve the rezoning request?
So,
Sorry, go ahead.
go ahead and finish.
Or a motion not to recommend?
To recommend.
So there is a motion to recommend the proposed changes to town council. Is there a second?
A second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
Aye.
Okay, so 3, 4, 1 against. Thank you for your. So again, is someone here from the property? Oh, okay, I just would like to tell people that doesn't really mean anything until it gets to the council. Okay. Anything else with C?
Nothing else.
All right, moving right along. Item D, special use permit for 203 River Road.
So I have a requested action, planning board review recommendation for a special use permit. The applicant, Russell and Daphne Sullivan, are here. Their property address 203 River Road. It's 0.33 acres, R10, which is medium density residential. It is within the city limits. It is minimal flood risk. And the proposal is that the applicant is proposing to change the use to Airbnb for short-term lodging. This residence is not the permanent residence, but it may change in the future. But as the time being, they are looking to change it to a B&B, which the closest ordinance of uses we have for that is the bed and breakfast, which is a special use permit for R10.
I'm sorry, they're gonna be using it as an Airbnb or a bed and breakfast?
So it's bed and breakfast is B&B, and an Airbnb is the closest description of a permissible use towards that.
But that's a trade name, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a company. The bed and breakfast ordinance, the only difference is that is, the breakfast requirement, but it's a similar use style of impact where it's short-term lodging. And
So help me out. Do we have any other areas that are designated as B&B?
we do not.
We have,
We used to back in the day. I remember there was a home, but it's no longer operating. But it was
That
on.
big one?
It's now Martin Luther King, but it used to be a bed and breakfast.
Yeah, so, other than that, staff believes that the use in question is consistent with the goals and objectives of the land use plan and will be in harmony with the surrounding business. And I asked my staff report and supporting documents be entered into evidence as testimony. And like I mentioned, that the applicants are here if you have further questions.
I do.
so if you'll, state your name and address for the record, please.
Daphne Sullivan, the address here or our permanent address? 203 Lombard, or 704 Lombard in Layton.
Thank you. So you're going to be using this exactly. Can you provide more detailed information, this home?
So, for an Airbnb, when we travel, that's generally where we stay rather than a hotel.
Okay.
We usually travel with dogs. So we stayed in numerous. That's normally where we stay. We purchased the home, so we haven't had it for a year. We purchased it for our daughter and granddaughter. Her husband is stationed in Camp we purchased the home for them. They've since reconciled. And we really like the house, like the area. We haven't had it in a year, so we want to keep it and have access to it and continue to fix it up. So rather than rent it out, when our landlords really, we thought that it might make a good Airbnb for this area. I know I've looked, because we've never had an Airbnb before, but the closest one is in Smithfield. So I think Smithfield has maybe 2 or 3. So, just thought that might be a good way to keep it and continue to fix it up and have it in the area rather than sell it or rent it out.
Okay.
It's that one-story White House with a garage, barn structure garage behind it. Okay, I know it.
Are you gonna be going through a third-party company?
No, I think the best in our realtor that, that helped us buy the house in Clayton and helped us buy this one. So she and I've been talking and you really just manage it yourself. We do have a friend that has one in Omaha. So kind of looking, you just go through, I guess, the company.
Oh, so you are going to, okay.
Right. So, I guess most of the time, I think some people use, a realtor, but I think most of the time it's the host is the owner.
Okay. But you're gonna go through a site, they're gonna vet the individuals for you and all that.
Right, and then, so like when we rent one, when you do a review of the property, they also review you. So it kind of,
Yeah.
since it'll be new, they won't have much on
Right,
that property.
right.
But as people try to,
Yes,
we'll be able to tell, to kind of keep.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Staying in it.
okay, yeah, very familiar, I use it as well when I travel.
So we use it a lot when we travel, but it'll be new, never having done this before. So that's what we're doing a lot of research on it, so.
Okay.
Any other questions for Ms. Sullivan? Thank you, Ms. Sullivan.
Thank you.
So, step 1 is the request consistent with the land use plan. We don't have to do that part. Okay, I was trying to be slick and get ahead since it's a little new, but that's what I get. Okay, so is there a motion to recommend or not recommend the proposed special use permit to town council?
So moved.
Recommend.
Recommend?
Recommend, yeah.
Sorry. So, recommend and then have a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Right. So we make a recommendation to town council, the town council will make the final decision whether or not to approve that change. But thank you, guys. Appreciate you being here. I think that's it. No closed session items. Our next meeting will be June 23rd, okay?
Not be at that meeting, that's my birthday.
Oh, yeah,
Happy birthday anniversary.
Thank you.
if you come, I'll bring you. So, but we should be good. If anyone else has an issue or can't be there, let us know, because with just 2 board members, we would not be able to conduct business. So with 3 of us, we can. Okay, good. Thank you for sharing. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye, aye.
Aye.
Aye.